Hello family, friends, and patriots. Well, here's the next piece of the saga of our adventure into becoming land barons here in Colorado Springs. Not really, 40 acres is not a whole lot of land when you've come from 1200 up in Idaho, but we're going to try to make it work. So, 2 weeks ago on the 14th, we closed on the property, so now the property is officially ours. The next phase, of course, is getting ready to build. Some of the decisions we had to make was, well, we have a house here, obviously where I'm filming now, and we didn't need a house on the new property right away. In other words, we really thought that it would take about 6 months to get all the permits and all the plans drawn and everything that you need to get done as you're moving forward in developing a piece of property. So the first thing we decided to do was to put up a barn. You can put up a barn as an accessory building or a farm building on a piece of property without having to go through the extensive permitting process. What you need, of course, is a site map where you draw in from your boundaries exactly where the barn's going to be, where any electrical connections are, where the well is, and of course the setback. And if you're having a 35 acres or more here in Colorado and going to have livestock on it, then your setback is a 200-foot line inside your fence line that you can't build any closer to. I.e., let's say you wanted to put a shed or something out there. If it was within 200 feet of your property line, then it's within that setback and it can't be put there. So you have to know exactly where that's at. So, and a legal description. Obviously, the people that were going to allow the building needed to have a legal description of the property, its address, and then all the survey measurements around the property, and of course we provided them that. So that went in. It was really a relatively easy process. You went on, it was all done on Webline, and you could upload your drawings and your surveys and that sort of thing. I did it myself. So obviously it was easy. I mean, if I could do it, then pretty much anybody could do it, right? So we put all that up there, and in about 2 weeks they came back and said, yeah, you're approved to go ahead and build this barn. So we're going to put on a 32 by 64 foot barn. It's going to be a pole building with a concrete floor. And the nice thing about here in Colorado is that those types of buildings, they allow storage in. In other words, I would probably have, I had to tell them I was going to put my tractor in there, and I'm going to have other farming equipment that you put in there. You're also allowed to put in livestock, obviously, and in Colorado you can also have a dairy. The reason a dairy is important is because not only do I like to have electrical outlets and lighting obviously in a barn, but I also like to have the access to water. So we're going to put in a hot water heater, probably a stainless steel sink, and something where we can process milk from milk cows for our personal use. So that was kind of important. Of course, the other thing you've got to do when you're looking at all this is, what is it going to cost? Now, if you've taken any of my finance classes under holistic management, you'd know that there's numerous things that you need to look at and ways to get money to go ahead and use for building and for procuring things that you're going to put on the farm. You could go to YouTube under Douglas Holloway, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and then go under the playlist for holistic management, and there's a whole 4 or 5 classes that I did there on finances. One of the ones that particularly applied to this situation was that we went down and leveraged the fact that we have paid off this house that we're in here in Peyton, and so that allowed the bank to say, well, we could put a lien on your house and then we can give you a line of credit for $250,000. That doesn't sound like, I mean, why not just get a construction loan, right? Go down to the bank, say, hey, I'm going to build this thing, how about you give me a loan, and for construction I'll build it, and then we'll roll it all into a lump sum a loan later, under the VA or through a conventional loan. Well, the difference is this. A construction loan here in Colorado Springs is running about 5.5% interest on the money that you borrow to build with. Now, if you went and got a line, and the other thing is that you only have a year to complete your building. They put a higher interest rate on it, and they also put a shorter timeline for you to finish your construction. However, with a line of credit, and the fact that we had this house paid for and could leverage the fact that we had a house paid for that had value. The $250,000 that they were allowed us to use under a line of credit was in at 3.9%, and it was for 5 years. So we could pay it off as we go, use what we needed to, and then put it back in payments. And so it gave you a whole lot more flexibility, and of course that's the way we chose to go, because it just worked better for us and for your financial flow. So if you're looking at building something on your property, and you already have numerous assets that you own, you may want to leverage those assets with the bank and see if you can get a higher amount of money in a line of credit with a lower interest rate. It's only wise, and it can benefit what you do, because at this point we'll be able to get the barn in, start raising animals and actually making money on the property while we're waiting to do the permitting piece and the drawings and everything for the house that we plan to build in the future. So once again, thanks for joining me today. I will continue to keep you updated on this process. If you would like to know any of the particulars about what we talked about today, go ahead and email me at dgholloway6@gmail.com, and we can discuss your questions and also give you some recommendations for them. So thanks for joining me, and you have a good day.